Hi guys, it is the Double Beam Burrito, and here with another YouTube video. This is like my first one that I've ever done for myself. Most of the videos, I think all, have been kind of just, besides the shorts obviously, have been just for like, a speech class or something like that. And now it's time for my official first video. Well, not official, first video. And yeah, let's just get right into it. Very exciting. So let's go. Modern dating. What hasn't been said about it at this point? I mean, I go on Instagram. You guys do too. You see the people, dating advice this, dating advice that. Oh, this means this. If you look into this or you watch what your partner does, this is what happens, or, just things like that. Or on the complete, not other end of the spectrum, but kind of like on the same wavelength. It's like, yeah, no, you shouldn't be monogamous with someone. You should be cool with just hooking up with people. Sometimes it's just what people want to do. Is they're cool with hooking up with people, and they're cool with just kind of casually dating and, doing their thing. And if that works for them, great. All right, great. I support, do what you want to do. But personally, I don't really think that's what I want to do. So, a lot of people my age, have this idea that dating is kind of just like something you do and not something really worth committing towards, especially right now. I feel like a lot of people have that mindset of where like, dating right now is kind of a waste, and everyone just does it casually, and they do it to, have sex, or, just nothing ever too serious. A lot of people, frats, sororities, just kind of hookup culture in general is kind of, it's kind of gross. I don't like it. And yeah, it's just not my thing particularly. And there's also, all these dating apps like Hinge, Bumble, was it the other one, Tinder, and, Grindr for all you freaky little lads out there, or ladies. Yeah, all these different apps. And, I just think it's so useless. Like, I think it's counterintuitive to waste my time going through an app and, looking for a partner and looking for someone to date, and, just finding people who want to hook up, finding people who, just aren't serious about things, or just countlessly scrolling, and, there's horrors to, all these different dating things. But for me, I just think that scrolling, doing all that stuff, meeting up with all these people, from just like, move the camera, sorry, doing all that stuff, I think it's just counter, I don't think it's good for me. I think I'd much rather just talk to someone in person, go approach them, and have an actual conversation with them. I feel like it's very awkward to talk to someone online. Like, I've tried, DMing people before. Ooh, plane. You see it? See it? Okay. Yeah, no, I just think I've tried DMing people, I haven't done dating apps, but I've DM'd people before on my fair share, and it's worked for me sometimes on occasion. But personally, I just think it's kind of devoid of any real conversation. I feel like a lot of people are very awkward, and it's very natural to feel awkward online. It's just someone DMing you out of nowhere, or they follow you out of nowhere. And yeah, no, I don't like it. It's awkward for me too. And it's very hard to find someone who's actually willing to like just have a conversation at that. So yeah, no, I don't like the online aspect of it. I'd much rather, again, like, you could, this works for you, do your thing. If you want to, you want to do these things, whatever. But for me, I just think I want to meet someone who's like, I'm in college. Someone who probably goes to the same school or like surrounding area. Someone I can just meet off a whim, or someone I can meet very often. Long distance is this whole other like thing, but just to like sum up why I don't want to do that. I don't have this person near me at all. Again, online thing, I feel like it'll be very awkward, and conversations will just not be as good as I feel like they would be in person. And there's a lot of things omitted from having an actual there's a lot of things omitted from texting or calling than there is actually being, physically there or physically in person hanging out with, this person of interest of yours. So yeah, no, I don't like the online aspect of a lot of, dating and things like that. I know people like to do that, and they like to DM, and they like to, res up or whatever. Just not my thing. I don't feel like I can really express myself that much through text or call, and I find it very hard to find someone who would also want to do that. Ooh, light. Better lighting for me. So yeah, no, just not my particular cup of tea. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty. To sex or to not sex? A lot of people who are in college, hookup culture, they just want to casually do their thing. And why am I against it? Why is it not my thing? Well, I feel like for, some people, I've seen people promote it. I've seen YouTube videos who are like, yeah, no, it's great. I just don't think that's for me. Personally, what my values are kind of different, I'd say traditional, just kind of normal, but not to what people are doing nowadays. I feel like, I just want to meet someone, have the idea that maybe this can be a serious thing, maybe this can be something that leads on to further stuff, and, just stick with them and just not just see where it goes, ride the wave per se. And then if, works out, doesn't work out, whatever, just move on. That's how I see it. I don't really want to have sex with anyone in particular right now. Again, everyone gets horny, everyone wants to, do their thing. I just don't see a reason to do that right now. I feel like I'm much more engaged in other things like school or my hobbies or YouTube than to actually, not yet. I'm just gonna throw this out there. I am not a big channel. I'm not like, oh, I'm posting consistently, I'm doing this. No, I feel like I have other priorities that I'd rather tackle rather than, hooking up or, having sex with some girl or, whatever. Just not my thing. Nothing I'd want to do personally. But yeah, I just feel like it's kind of devoid of an actual good sexual interaction with someone, because I feel like I'd rather share that moment with someone who I actually care about and who I've gotten to love over time, rather than just, someone who I meet or someone that I just, meet. Meet. So yeah, I just think casual sex just isn't my thing. I don't really want to have any bodies before I get married, and then, but before, I used to I watched the channels, I watched the people who said oh, it's a totally normal thing, and, I just don't feel comfortable with it. I thought it over. I'm like, what if I did try out this hooking up thing? What if I did, do this, and it's something new, I'm in college. I feel like that would be disingenuous as to who I am and my values, if I were to ask myself, what is my dream woman? It would be someone who thinks of modern dating or this whole topic in general kind of similarly, and someone who, isn't fucking around, isn't just being immature and just, having a bunch of sex. I think I wouldn't want that. And I wouldn't want someone who thinks casually dating or is something on the table. I just don't get it. I don't want to do that. It's not my thing. I'd rather just talk to someone, see how it goes, ride the wave, and if it turns into something serious, amazing. That's the real goal. That's the real thing I want. It's not that, I'm falling in love, or I'm just gonna adjust this real quick. It's not that I'm falling in love with someone so fast, or I'm obsessing over one person. It's just I want to meet someone, like them, learn to love them, maybe learn things about them, and then maybe take it in a serious direction. That's what I want. I don't want to obsess, don't want to be all over this person, oh my god, you're the greatest person ever. But I also don't want to just on the complete other end just have sex and just get to know all these different women and just do that. I think it's not my thing. I think it's kind of gross. It's just, and a lot of people are kind of okay with that, and to that I say, do your thing. I completely don't care. This isn't a message, this isn't a video to be a call to action where it's you should do this or you should do that. I feel like different people have their different ways of going about it. Maybe you'll regret it, maybe you won't, but go about it as you want, I'd say. But personally, I just don't think it's worth my time hooking up with other people, and I don't want to make it a priority, and I don't want to have sex with someone unless it's someone I really do love, and I want it to be something that's built over time, and kind of just not something that is just thrown around willy-nilly. I don't like the idea of it. Back to what I was saying about like the dream woman thing. Don't have casual sex, don't date casually, kind of just someone who's looking to find something serious, right? If I were to, because I was considering like maybe, casual dating and doing this sort of thing maybe I could try it out. Maybe I could go on multiple dates and ask all these women out and, get their numbers and have sex and do all that. I wouldn't want that from someone I'm actually with. I don't think I'd be comfortable with that if she's just like, oh yeah, I used to casually date, I hooked up with all these dudes. Not my thing, personally. It's just, I know, scientifically it's like they're probably fine, it's nothing like that, but I think just morally, for my values, for what I stand for and for what I believe in, I want someone who meets those and not someone who, would be against them. And I think if I were to just go get head, or I was just to go do these things, I'd not only be betraying, let's say theoretically I get with this dream woman, I get with this person who I really care about. I don't want to have to tell them that, yeah, I've slept with multiple people and I've been casually dating and I've, been doing these things, because I'd feel embarrassed. I'd feel, like this isn't the person who I, really wanted that much. I'm kind of easy. I'm kind of just letting anyone in and out, and, I'd feel disappointed to my partner who I'm devoted to. But not only that, I feel like I'd be disappointed in myself. I hold all these standards for, who I want to date, who I want to end up with, but I don't apply them to myself. I think that's just ludicrous, and I don't think that's worth considering. I think I'd much rather spend my time with my hobbies, doing things I like, improving my life, and, just doing things that aren't sex, I think I can find a lot more gratification out of having hobbies and doing things that aren't, having sex, and, and really working and building up a relationship with someone who I really care about and who really cares about me and is someone as serious as I am about these topics. I feel like that would bring me much more gratification than any amount of sex ever could. So, yeah, it's just not my thing, and I don't think it aligns with my morals very well. And I don't think it aligns with my idea of who I'd want as a partner. So, yeah, no, I think just a lot of people kind of give in to their vices. They get to college, or maybe they've been doing, having casual sex and doing this stuff in high school, and they don't have parents' regulation anymore because they're away from them, and so now they think, oh, this is something I can do all the time now. This is great, and I feel like a lot of those people are gonna regret it, especially when they find a partner, or maybe they find a partner with the same exact values as they have. Good for them in that case. But I think, let's say they find a partner who they have, someone they take serious, someone with stricter values. They find them, and then one day they'll have to explain, what they did in the past, and they'll have to regret it. That's not something I want to do, Like, they'll find someone they really love, someone maybe very special to them, someone who they see more of, rather than just someone that they hooked up with, but maybe someone they want to spend the rest of their life with, and then they have to explain to them, yeah, I was doing all this stuff in college, and I casually dated, and I did all these things, and yeah, I just feel like if it's their partner, if it's their person, they'll forgive them maybe, who knows, but I feel like I'd just be failing my partner at the end of the day, and that's something I'm very scared of, is to just be someone who like, to see that disappointment on someone, I'd just rather never see in my life. So, I've said I dislike the modern dating standards. I dislike a lot of the things that people are doing, and I these aren't things I want to do and I want to partake in. Well, what is it that I want to do? What's my goal? What's my ideal situation with someone? All right? This is it. I want to meet someone who I find interesting, who is cool, who has similar values as me, similar standards for themselves. I want to not only just treat them with respect, but also treat myself with respect in, like, treat myself with respect and, not waste either of our time, and just, I'm not obsessed over them, not like completely take it over, and just, learn to love this person over time, hang out with them, maybe be friends before, and, just kind of build something gradually, and then over an amount of time, maybe fall in love, maybe, will you be my girlfriend, and then, maybe get married, and maybe start a family, maybe have kids, maybe live out the rest of my days with this person, because I really value them and I really cherish them for who they are, and nothing else. So that's my ideal relationship goal. That's the goal for any woman. I will say, a lot of people, who get out of relationships, they get out of them and they just start going back into the dating game. Don't do that, okay? Like, personally, again, this is what I think, but maybe, you know what? I'm done saying, like, this is fine for everyone. Maybe it should apply to you. Maybe the person listening to this right now, maybe this is for you. Maybe this is a wake-up call for you, okay? Maybe, you should follow what I do, because I feel like what I do is pretty healthy, and I feel like it's pretty normal, and I feel like these are standards that we've kind of lost. So, what I'm going to say is, if you've broken up with someone, particularly, well, past points, do what I've said before, but also, if you break up with someone, or they break up with you, I'd advise not doing that. You're kind of just using people in a way to kind of just fill a hole that's not there anymore. Just kind of fill a spot. Whereas I don't really think that's very healthy at all. And I think it's just going to rot your brain and not just, I'm sure there's studies and stuff like that, but I'm coming from a completely moral standpoint where I say, I don't think that's right for you. And I think you're going to end up regretting it a lot. You're either going to waste your time with someone who could have, who actually was really cool, but you just weren't ready for, or you're just going to hook up with all these people. And then let's say one day you do meet someone who you really like and you really want to be with, and then you're going to have to explain that to them about how you hooked up and you did all these things in college. Don't do that, I think that instead of looking for a partner to fill a part of you, you should look for a partner to add to you. I think when you're ready to date is not when, someone leaves you or something happens or you're just left with this hole that isn't being filled. I think that's completely immature. I don't think it's anyone's job to fix you or to, fill a part of you that isn't filled or, fulfill a part of you that just, isn't there. I don't think that's what a partner is for at all. It's a partner, not, not your nurse, not your therapist. Like, this is someone who you should add to your life, not someone who you fill it in with, I think it's up to your own responsibility to get your own help and really learn things about yourself and really be the best that you can, so that way, the person who you're with just doesn't have to really fill that for you. There isn't someone who has to put so much into you because you aren't fixed and you have these problems, and this is a completely you thing, really. I think that it should be responsible for both partners to be well mentally balanced and well mentally there, and just wait for a time to really get with someone and really love them and really get to know them. Now that isn't to say that isn't to say that you're not going to be insecure about some things. That's normal. Everyone has it, and I think a part of the bonding with a partner is filling things like certain small insecurities or things that you feel insecure about. Someone who can heal you, in certain ways. And that's all fine and dandy. I don't see any, problem with, these little things or just, certain things that you're insecure about or you don't feel I feel finding comfort in your partner is very important. And I think, finding comfort in things that you're insecure about, or, just things like that is very good. But what I also think is that despite, you having some insecurities, I don't think that's an excuse for you to not work on them. I think you should try to be the best that you can every day, not only just for a partner, completely outside, the whole modern dating topic, but just for you, the viewer. Be good for you. And do these things for you. Really just, there we go. No, right there. There we go. Do these things for you, and do these things just for your own help. You don't need anyone to help you, really, unless you like going, if you have serious mental issues, or, serious stuff that's really going on, go see a therapist or something like that. This isn't, me saying don't go and see a therapist. Don't, do these, definitely see a therapist. I think a lot of people should see a therapist, but that's a part of helping you, honestly, just seeing someone and talking to someone. But I think it's up to you to really push yourself to do that. And I think it's really up to you to want to be the best for you. And then that'll attract a lot, people for you. That'll attract people who are interested in you, just someone who sees you. It's easier to fall in love and really like someone when they're themselves and not a shell of themselves or a piece of themselves. It's much easier to love someone when, they're on their A game, they're doing good for themselves, and it's easy to like someone because of that, just because of their natural energy or naturally who they are. And not to say you won't have insecurities, or you won't feel bad, or you won't have these things, and this person will just have to love you for those things. But that's not to say you shouldn't be trying to improve them. That's not me saying like this is an excuse for you to not work on yourself. Definitely work on yourself, and definitely try to be the best for you before meeting someone, so that way when you meet them there is less collision, and there's less fights, and there's less things, because you're here. You know what you want, what you want to do, and you're at a point where you feel like with or without a partner you don't need it. You can be happy. That's important. That's important for just not just me, but like you guys, and it's important for your health, and it's important for the things you want to do. I don't like how you have to wait for people. I personally, okay, whoa, voice crack. Personally, and this is talking about Instagram or DMing, and another reason why I don't like online conversations. When I ask for someone's Instagram, when I ask them, I don't want to, waiting a day. I get waiting a day. You got your day to go about. Maybe you're busy. Maybe you got stuff. You want to put that impression on someone. But I think I just want to talk to people. Like, I don't see the problem with just being like, hey, you want to hang out sometime? Not today. I don't. If I ask someone out, I don't want to hang out with them that day. Maybe I'm a little busy, but I don't believe in the idea like, oh, you should wait until you text someone because, this is just, or you should wait to text someone because you want to seem more busy. You should wait to do these things, or you should wait to talk to this person. Personally, I want to get to know this person. I want to meet them. I want to know who they are. So I don't really subscribe to the idea that you should wait, maybe like give it some time, don't make it too bad, but like, be like, yeah, I liked our, let's say you ask someone out, right? And, a couple hours go by, maybe I'm in college, so maybe a couple classes pass, you're done for the day. You're just like, hey, I really liked our conversation, do you want to hang out? I thought you're really cool. Do you want to hang out sometime? Whenever you're free, that is, or something adjacent, right? And I feel like waiting to text someone or waiting to do things, if it's not organic, like if you're not actually doing things, if you're not actually, not to say you have a responsibility to, but I just don't see the reason for you to be like, yeah, no, I should wait, I should wait so that this person is reeled in. Personally, if a girl asks for my number, right, and she texts me first, and let's say I text her, I take a little bit, I'm busy, whatever. If this person texts me back instantly or texts me back fast, I will never see that as something where like, oh, she's obsessed with me. Oh, this is something. Like, I'll never be that person to be like, oh, yeah, this person really wants me like that, or they really, like, maybe that's just me being blind, but personally, oh my God, I've said personally like 1,000 times. I think that, it's just not that big of a deal. Maybe you just want to talk to someone. Maybe just, a conversation would be nice. I don't get how it's like, oh, because this person types so fast or they respond so fast, like, they do that. I feel like people who wait to respond or, do things like that, it's completely performative, and that's not actually who you are. Let's say you actually get in a relationship with this person, you're going to be texting them pretty often, you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be what you're doing now, Or, like, let's say that first date goes well or that second date goes well. You're most likely going to be typing and texting more than you were before, so why not just, like, show your true intention than just, wait it out and try to seem mysterious or try to, like, reel them in. I think that's just a cornball move, and it's not something I'd do. I've done it, but it's not something I want to do anymore. I mean, if I want to talk to you, I want to talk to you. Point blank, period. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean I'm obsessed with you. Doesn't mean anything. It just means you are someone who I want to speak to. I want to get to know. Yeah, and I see no problem. I don't get why that's a problem responding fast. Unless you're doing it when it's actually like game time, like you have school or you have hobbies or you have things you actually have to do. Like, if you want to respond to like, let's say you're playing video game. Again, just meeting this person, put your priorities, your hobbies, your things, a lot of things over this person. Like, I don't think you should be obsessive or this. But if you just want to respond and that's something you want to do, like, go for it, go for it. Just do it. If it's not organic, don't just wait to respond. I feel like that's just corny. I feel like it's just losery. You're a loser. Sorry. You are not a loser. You're a snowflake. All right. I love you. Okay. You're like, if you're watching this as of December 5th or, maybe in the same month, you're an OG. This is one of my first videos. So no, you're beautiful and you're special and I love you. Okay. But again, just don't do things like that. Don't do things that are inorganic to who you are. Yeah, just do what you want to do, man. Just do what you want to do. And either someone rocks with it or they don't rock with it. That's what I've learned. And that's where I found my most success in dating is you should just be yourself. You should just be who you are, because let's say this, you do like I'm mysterious, or you do this, and you find someone who, you like, and, that's their perception of you. That's what they think of you now. Let's say that isn't you, right? Inevitably, that's going to change, that nonchalantness or that, performativity. It's going to change because that's not who you are. You're going to want someone to love you for who you are. And then that girl leaves or she's not interested anymore because you portrayed yourself in an inauthentic way. That's why you should just go out, initially just go, boom, this is who I am. You either rock with it or you don't, I think that's the most honest, and I think it's the most successful way you're going to find someone. Like, long term, that is. I feel like be yourself, be who you are, and don't let performativity or whatever standards of dating or anything stop you from being exactly who you are. Because I think it'll just fail. I think it won't work for you, unfortunately, but, yeah, I think I've said a lot so far. I love this video. This is a great video. I've ranted for so long now, and, very fun thing to do. Is there any other topics I would like to cover? Okay, I'm going to end this video here. Moral of the story. 1, modern dating standards kind of suck. Don't just casually hook up. Don't do things that you're probably going to regret later. Do something that live up to the standards you live up to for someone you'd actually want to end up with. Live up to the standards of who you'd want your long-term partner to be, and be that person, and be someone who, really is very strong in what they believe in, and, live up, be the person, and maybe not be the person, but live up to the standards of who you want to date. 2, be yourself in the most authentic ways. Don't just, don't do anything performative. You don't got to do that. Someone will love you for who you are. And if you're watching this video, you're most likely amazing. I love you. Okay? Be yourself, you know? Someone's gonna love you for who you are. Unless you're like a lolicon, or like you like furries or something like that. Maybe that's a bit. But hey, someone might be into it. Or going on, point 3. Point 3. Don't rely on someone to be your support all the time. You know, try to be better for yourself, and I promise you'll find someone. Don't take someone in because you have a hole in yourself, or who you want to be, or just a thing that needs filling. Well, I mean, anyways, yeah, just get a partner that's additive and not someone who just, fills you up. So, anyways, that's the video, guys. I hope you guys liked it. Like, comment, subscribe, and have a wonderful night, and or day, and or evening, and or morning.